Thank you.
I'm guessing it's been a long day for you all. I will try to just hit the high points because I know there's a lot. There's a lot that I could say about Counseling and Psych Services, but the things that are most important to say is the stuff I'll try to start with. So there's 25 of us, part-time and full-time counselors for Counseling and Psych Services. And we're open between 8 and 4:30, Monday through Friday. It's important for students to know that there's no additional costs, actually, if they come and see us. So they pay a student fee. You all pay a student fee every semester. It covers the costs, I believe, actually, for all the services in this building, but I may be speaking out of turn there. But certainly for student health services, our department, and health promotion. I believe your student fees cover all of those services for sure, and certainly cover counseling and psych services. So there are no additional fees that students have to pay to come see us, which is helpful. So the first way that students typically get connected with our services is typically by phone. So if students call or come by, the first thing we try to do is schedule them for something called a phone consultation. So that they can talk with the counselor for a little bit to just get a sense of what's going on and figure out how best to get that student connected with what they need. That service is actually also available to parents. So when you are doing your ambassador tour, you're going by the building, I'm guessing a lot of times you don't just have students in tow, a lot of times you have parents in tow as well. It would be great to get the word out and let them know that they can call us too if they have concerns about their son or daughter while they're here. They can call us and we can also talk with them just to help them figure out what the next step might be for trying to address the problem.
Is that also available for like Mexican, like brother sisters?
Yes. Yep. Most often it's parents, but actually it's a service that we provide to anybody who would call us. So we provide it also to community members, we provide it to roommates, girlfriends, boyfriends, all that kind of, anyone who's concerned about an SDSU student can actually call us and get a consultation. Most of the time it's parents or it's faculty or staff who call us, but anyone can. So I want to make sure that you get the word out about that if you can. And then we also offer crisis intervention. So for students who are suicidal, are homicidal, have been physically or sexually assaulted, or have had someone die recently who was close to them, a family member, a friend. We want to see those folks in our office that day. So they can call us, but the first thing that we're going to try to do is find a time for them to actually sit down with the counselor one-on-one to have a conversation with us, because obviously those conversations tend to be a little bit more sensitive, and we don't want to try to do that over the phone if we can help it. Obviously, if students don't have time, they can do it that way, but our preference is always going to be to talk to those students in person, because those situations are really crisis situations. So we have those happen pretty much every day at Counseling and Psych Services. So I want to just let you know that that's the other major way that, that students get involved in terms of the first time that they would see us. And then again, you want to focus on how to try to help them and how to get them connected with what they need. And if what they need is something that is kind of what we would call kind of problem-focused and short-term for us would probably mean no longer than, say, a semester, then they would come in and see a counselor at Counseling and Psych Services if that's what worked best for them. For students who are wanting more than that, who are wanting, say, to be able to check in on a more ongoing basis with a counselor, then those are the situations where we will refer students out using their insurance, or those are also times when we know where the low-cost community clinics are in and around San Diego State, and we can let students know about that so we can get them connected with that if that's what they're wanting. It's something that we can't provide. So we don't actually have a session limit. Oftentimes we here on campus, well, you get 6 free sessions at Counseling and Psych Services. There's no hard and fast limit, but typically it would be very unusual for us to see a student longer than about a semester, just because there's 25 of us and 34,000 of you. So it's just a numbers thing, really, for us in terms of the limitations of how long we can see students for. But we also offer groups, lots of different groups actually. So there's the groups that are still available now would be our COPE workshops, which are basically like stress management 101 kinds of stuff. A grief and loss group for folks who have lost a close friend or a family member, which happens a lot more often than you would think for students who are typically between 17 and say 21 or 22. There are a lot of people who are having friends die or family members, close family members die. So I'll just put a quick plug in for those two. And then we have biofeedback. Has anyone actually heard of biofeedback before? Okay, a couple of you actually know what that is. So basically biofeedback is just a totally different approach to trying to deal with, typically with anxiety and stress. So we actually hook you up so you can see your own physiology. You can see your heart rate, you can see your breathing patterns, and then we teach you some breathing strategies that allow you to get control over your own physiology and actually watch it work, because you're hooked up to a machine that shows you how you're doing that. So that's something we typically use to help students who are having academic stress. So this is things like test anxiety, right? If you know somebody who's like blanking on that test, right? Those are the students that we want to see, and we want them to go through and do some biofeedback so that they've got some strategies that they can use the next time they're in that testing situation that'll help them make sure that they can focus and concentrate rather than blanking out and failing. We also have a program called Aspire, which is our short-term kind of alcohol and drug program, which is focused basically on just like 3 conversations about how things are going at San Diego State. And obviously that includes things like their alcohol and drug use, but it also just includes how things are going on the whole. So it's not punitive, no one's going to tell them they have to change. None of the stuff that I think are the normal stereotypes that you typically see about, say if someone's had an alcohol violation on campus. So we try to get the word out about that. We're actually there just to try to help figure out what makes sense for that student. We're not there to tell them what they have to do or to punish them for what happened to them on campus. So we're always trying to get the word out about that too. And then the other 2 things before I wrap up that I want to mention is we have a Center for Wellbeing just across the way. That is a place for students to just come. You don't have to be seeing a counselor to go over there. You can just walk in anytime between 8 and 4:30, and it is there and available to you, just as a place to relax. So it's got everything from a massage chair, which is probably the most popular thing. We also have an egg chair in that room that students are sometimes familiar with, which uses alpha waves to kind of help you relax. So alpha waves are the type of brain waves that you experience just before you fall asleep, which is why a good part of the time stressed out students who find themselves in the egg chair fall asleep, which is just fine by us. We will leave you peacefully to sleep in the egg chair until 4:30 arrives, and then we will gently wake you up and suggest that it's time to go. So we haven't had anybody fall asleep and wake up the next morning or anything when we were first getting back up and running again. But we definitely had students who had to wake up at 4:30 when we were shutting things down. And then the last thing to mention is Baxter, which is the most popular counselor on the staff. So not only is Baxter out at all of our outreach-related events on campus, so you'll see him out and around campus, you can make an appointment to see Baxter in the counseling center if you'd like to. You can just give us a call and say, yes, I'd like to pet a dog for 15 minutes, I'm stressed out right now. And we do that as well. Baxter will also, I think every finals week, Baxter is in the library. So he typically gets mobbed in the library, so just to let you know though, he will be there. You can feel free to let folks know whether it's in your role as an ambassador or just that you're walking around campus and are thinking to yourself, man, I'm stressed out too, I'd like to go pet Baxter in the library for 10 minutes. Any questions before I wrap up? Hopefully I did that without overwhelming.
Is Baxter on campus like all the time, or like where does he go?
He's in the counseling center. He roams the hallways in the counseling center typically. He is actually the dog of the director of our counseling center, Jen Reichert. So she goes home with him at the end of the night, and he's not here every day. But if you call to make an appointment, he's probably here more days than not. So just in terms of being able to like make an appointment, you can just give us a call and say, hey, thanks there. Or like I said, he is out at all of our outreach events, so you will find him there pretty much every time we're out on campus trying to raise awareness about something. So, any other questions? Okay. Well, thanks so much for all your help in getting the word out about our services, because we sure appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.